Welcome everyone, Christine here with a discussion about Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires and what I would consider to be one of the biggest exploits in the game at the moment. This is something people playing multiplayer campaigns have discovered a while ago, and also something that Mercy the Mad made a video on, and even something I've made a video on. But there's some more information to give on this, and also if you're looking to play a multiplayer campaign, there is a way to prevent someone cheesing the hell out of the system. I mean, mind you, it is a cheese, it is something that people looking to gain any advantage in the game will aim for, but there is a way to limit it. So what am I talking about? What's the exploit? Well, if you start region trading with a particular faction, obviously you can gain a lot of money, especially if you're giving them settlements with barracks, which is exactly what I have here. Military structures. Settlements that are fully repaired, so Igorov is going to be worth far less than others, but if you just start giving factions various pieces of your territory, you are going to be able to get money. Now, the key aspect here is even when a faction is completely out of money, like these ogres are only at 500 gold, you can still go over here and then demand a payment, and you can demand up to 2,000 early on in the campaign. Later on in the campaign, I've seen it go up to 3,000. I think it could go up even further. I'm not quite sure based on what, but just know that it can go up. Now, every time you do a region swap, regardless of the value over here, for instance, of the settlement. So this is 17, but it's not just going to count necessarily 17. It's going to go 50, right? We're gonna be plus 50 right now between us and over. So right here it only says 10, but it's 80. So the more region trading you engage in with a particular faction, the better off you'll be. But here's the core of the issue, and where you can really exploit this, not just for money, but also to really radically improve relationships with the faction. Though keep in mind, the faction that hates the faction you're trading with, for whatever reason, like Azak hates these ogres, is obviously going to hate you for it. So that is an aspect you have to bear in mind. But you can get to a point where you can pull off something like this, where you can, with certain settlements, just continuously trade certain settlements over and over and over again between yourself and the AI. Like, I can sell Vitevo, then I can take Forjakova for Zavastra, then I sell Zavastra for Vitevo, Vitevo for Forjakova. You get the idea. So already here with these ogres, I am at 200 plus 200 relationship. That's part one of the exploit. It's gonna get crazier now, because now I am going to declare war on them. The key of this is that if you trade a settlement to a faction of a different race, it can be the Empire, like in this case, it could be the Empire, it doesn't matter. But if you're trading a settlement to a faction of different race, that settlement will no longer have a garrison. It can be a walled settlement, it can be an unwalled settlement, it does not matter in the slightest. The crazy thing about this for Kislev is you have the invocation of Urson, you gain supporters when you occupy a settlement, and so if you do this, you gain a lot of power. Now, insane part, I can get a peace agreement. And the reason I'm able to get a peace agreement here is that when you declare war on a faction, or you get a military alliance, or even a defensive alliance with a particular faction, your relationship value, the total attitude value, will update. It's only going to be a partial update, it's not going to be a full update, and I did lose something for the declaration of war, but now I am in a position where I can just get a peace agreement with these ogres. It is freaking nuts in a lot of ways, isn't it? And the money I just gave them for that peace, I can get some of that back. But now I can then turn around and do the same freaking thing with Azak. I am not joking on this subject. I can literally do the same thing with Azak, and the benefit here, of course, beyond the fact that you're getting a lot of money, the fact that from these 4 settlements, I'm not just going to get a couple of supporters, I'm going to get a ton of freaking supporters, because I can do this with Ostermark, I can do it with Alabium, I can do it with Osland. I can even do it with Prague if I'm willing to pay the invocation cost loss in order to get it done. But it can be done. That's the crazy freaking part about it. It can be done, and it can be done in an insane level of ways and just make bank. The more regions, by the way, a faction has in a particular settlement, the more they will offer you for the more that particular settlement, that last settlement, in this case Vitevo, which I'm just going to swap for Forchikova because I know I can, but the more that settlement is going to be valued by the AI. So it's not just the fact that I'm trading them a settlement with a barracks. No. It is the fact that I am trading them something that they want in order to complete their promise. Because the AI does care about full provincial control. And now, with Azak, I'm at 25 supporters. I can do the same freaking thing again. I would hesitate with respect to the Ostermark to some extent on that subject, because it can genuinely hurt you quite a bit if you do so, but with Drika specifically. But you can do it with Osland. There is absolutely nothing involved that is going to hurt you with respect to that. You're depleting the money all of these factions have. So even if you did end up having to fight them, which in this case I absolutely won't, even if you did end up having to fight them, then all the same, it wouldn't freaking matter. And while Azag is not going to be quite willing to agree to a peace over here because he still hates me enough, I can certainly make this whole thing work, and I can absolutely get, you know, enough value from this. And it's not even about the money. Like, at this point, I don't even give a shit about the money, more or less. All I care about is getting, you know, getting the significant value out of this as I possibly can. Sometimes you might have to trade a settlement for a disfavorable deal if you do want to do so. Or, you know, over here I can just give them Igorov, get all the money I had back, all that kind of stuff. Or I could even, you know, pull off some crazy freaking stunts over here, right? In this case. So in the case of Osland, it's obviously I've reached the limit of how much bullshit I can pull off, to be sure. But, you know, all the money that I gave them, got it back, no problem. My relationship is 99. If we declare war on them, you know, maybe it will be a problem. Sure, maybe I won't be able to get an instant peace agreement, but I actually will, because they're much weaker than me. Faction strength does count in terms of how willing an AI faction is to engage you. Now, how do you prevent someone in multiplayer from doing this? Well, you can't prevent them from region trading, but you can make it a bit more difficult. So they just can't take a settlement with simply. Also, hilarious freaking part is like, oh, Osland, I'm just gonna take all your money, I'm gonna piss you off, and then you're gonna become my best friend. That's a bit broken. But there is a way. Warband upgrade mod. Yes, mods. I'm talking about mods. What you do is you get that particular mod, right? And with that mod, and by the way, all that I pulled over here, right? They obviously, like the Drazina Enclave, obviously not gonna like me over here because of what I just did, right? But, you know, I can just trade all these settlements to them very easily. Like, say I give them Igorov. And the insane part is not just the fact that I'm getting the money, but in this case, I might just be able to pull off a confederation with them. Because here's what's going to happen, right? So they're at war with Fraud. They're gaining relationship with me, positive relationship with me. I'm just going to give them Igorov for, you know, try and get some of the settlements back. But let's just say we give them Igorov again. Right here. Okay, we're at Knight of 51. We give Forchikova. We trade that for Zavastra. No problem. Zavastra for Vitevo. Just keep doing this over and over and over and over and over again until you have an overwhelming level of support. And when you're ready for it, not quite here, not quite in this particular case, but when you are ready for it, you can even potentially pull off a military alliance. And when you pull off a military alliance, if you have 150 plus diplomatic relations, which I don't here, but I'm very close, let's end the turn and see what happens. But if you get to 150 diplomatic relations, you should be able to confederate that particular faction. Bonus points if, say, you declare war on a faction, though in this case I don't have anyone to declare war on that isn't, you know, freaking Kislev. So there's no particular enemy I can use it to take advantage of. But let's say I end this turn, right? They're at war with Fraught, I'm not at war with Fraught. Let's see what happens when the relationship updates on the end turn. And now 2 turns later, partly because Fraught just destroyed their armies, partly because, well, simply put, I gained that level of power. But regardless, I have been able to confederate. This is another key strength about all of this, because this will work best with a race like Kislev that doesn't have any kind of limitation on confederation. Oh yeah. And because you're also taking the money, that makes them, of course, very, very vulnerable to this kind of situation. So right here, you know, no problem. You know, start improving my relationship start improving my relationship with Prague. Do this whole thing over again. And now I can confederate Prague. So in a couple of turns, I've confederated most of Kislev. And if I was playing Boris Ursus or Stankia, I could do this as well. There's only a handful of factions that have no limitations whatsoever on confederation, but those that don't have any kind of limitation on confederation, holy moly, is this powerful. Exceptionally so.
A timely arrival.
And you know, you can just keep doing it again and again and again, and there's nothing stopping you. It was like, who is going to stop you? It was like, oh, Azag is coming in. That's just meat to the slaughter. And I could have avoided it had I actually been playing carefully over here, which I certainly was not. I don't know how Creative Assembly could fix this. It is clearly a cheese. Maybe the fix is not considering this particular issue a problem to be fixed. Maybe the issue is the inherent problems with a race like Kislev that is just in a bad state of affairs. That would just be my perspective on that. Let me know what you guys think. Costin signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications. Oh, and if you think that's the most broken part of Kislev, oh no, it gets even worse. It gets even worse. There is this particular trait you can get for when I switch Lord that you can train in Realms of Chaos and load up in Immortal Empires for the load save character system and basically have buildings for free. Enjoy that one.